There's a kind of hurt that doesn't always look serious from the outside. No one is yelling, nobody is picking a fight, nothing explosive necessarily happens. But you share something you actually care about, and the response diffuses something in you that makes you wish you hadn't. Maybe it's a song you like. Maybe you shared a show or a hobby, perhaps a plan or a goal that you're aiming for. Something small to them, but not small to you. And maybe they give you a little chuckle that makes you raise an eyebrow for a second. Maybe they make a comment. Perhaps they just look bored or brush past it. Maybe they answer in a way that makes you feel a little dumb for bringing it up. And maybe afterward you tell yourself, it wasn't that big of a deal. Maybe you tell yourself not to make a thing out of it. Maybe you move on and act like it doesn't even matter. But it stays with you. Because even if the moment was small, it still told you something. It told you that this is probably not a person you can bring that part of yourself to, whether you recognize it or not at that moment. This is Caffeine and Clarity, where we talk about the moments, patterns, and thoughts that stay with us longer than we expect. And today, I want to talk about what happens when something you care about gets treated like it doesn't matter. A lot of us think that hurt only counts when it's obvious, when someone is openly rude or insults you, when the rejection is apparently clear. But a lot of hurt doesn't happen that way. Sometimes it shows up in a way that slowly frays you. A look, a tone, an undermining joke, a flat reaction, or a quick subject change that dismisses what was just said. And on their own, those things don't really seem like much. But when you're sharing something that matters to you, you're not just talking. You're showing a part of yourself. You're letting someone see what you're into, what gets your attention, what excites you, what means something to you. So when the response is dismissive, what hurts is not just that they didn't feel the same way. What hurts is how fast something personal landed, like it meant nothing, and gets made to feel unimportant. And that kind of thing lingers in your mind and heart. Sadly, this happens all of the time. Think about when you tell somebody about a book you loved and they make fun of it, making you feel like you're incapable of reading or liking or understanding said book. Recall a time that you played a song for somebody that you really like and they just roll their eyes as if their taste in music is superior. Maybe you bring up something that you're really excited about and they act like it's silly or ridiculously nonchalant, like, yeah, okay. Or maybe you put on an outfit that you feel really great in and the reaction makes you second guess it. You talk about a goal, an idea, or something you want to try, and instead of interest, you get sarcasm or disinterest. And what happens next is usually the part that matters most, because the seam of who you are starts to unravel a thread at a time. You don't always argue. You don't always defend your view. Sometimes you just retreat into yourself, adjust who you are. That's the beginning of the fraying. You may not stop caring about the things you enjoy. Maybe you just stop bringing it up to that person. You stop mentioning certain things because you already know how it tends to go, and it doesn't feel good. Over time, the non-sharing starts happening without you even thinking about it. You go on autopilot. You get more careful or selective about the words you use. You start deciding ahead of time who gets to hear what. Who gets the honest version of you? Who gets the shortened version? Who gets almost nothing? And this is where it gets confusing because the person doing it may not seem like a bad person. It might be a parent, a partner, a friend, a sibling, someone who does love you in some way. That's the part of what makes this so hard to pin down, because maybe they're not cruel, or at least not trying to be. Maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe they're not trying to hurt you. Maybe they would even say that they support you. But still, they have a way of making certain things feel stupid or unnecessary. And when that happens enough, you adjust. That's what people do. You learn what feels easy to share and what feels risky. You learn where you'll probably be met with interest and where you'll probably leave feeling shut down. And after a while, that adjustment can feel so normal that you stop noticing it. And you start thinking yourself as private or maybe guarded. But sometimes that isn't just your personality. Sometimes that is what happens after enough moments of feeling dismissed. This also explains why these moments can hurt more than they seem like they should. Because it's not only about one comment, it's about what that comment does. It makes you hold back, makes you second guess yourself, makes you wonder if you were foolish for even caring in the first place about the thing that you actually care about. You start asking yourself things like, was that dumb to bring up? Was I doing too much? Maybe I should have said less. And that's a tough thing to learn. To feel like you need to tone yourself down before someone else does it for you. But sometimes the issue is not that you were too open. Sometimes the issue is that you brought something personal to someone who just can't handle those moments very well. There's a distinction there, because not everyone knows how to respond well to someone else's excitement or someone's sensitivity or sincerity without stepping on it and crushing it. And some people only respect what makes sense to them. Some people joke when they feel uncomfortable. Some people dismiss what they don't relate to. And some people are fine with you having interests as long as they don't have to take them seriously. Some people were never taught how to handle personal things well. That doesn't mean that their response has no effect. It absolutely does. And one of the most useful things you can do is stop brushing past the pattern if the pattern keeps repeating. Not so that you can stay offended or turn everything into a problem, so you can be honest about what keeps happening, because honesty helps. If someone regularly makes you feel foolish for liking what you like, that tells you something. If someone only responds well to the parts of you that they understand, agree with, or relate to, that tells you something too. It tells you that they may not be someone you can bring everything to. And that doesn't always mean that you have to cut them off, but it may mean you stop expecting a better response from them in that particular area. That's not a punishment. That's just seeing it clearly. And that clarity matters, because closeness is not only about who checks in on you when things are hard. It's also about who doesn't make you regret opening your mouth when you're excited about something, when you're interested in something, when you're proud of something, when you care about something. Can they meet you there? How do they handle that? They don't have to love the same things. That is not the point. The point is whether they can let something mattered to you without making it feel stupid because it doesn't matter to them. Again, a huge, huge difference. Someone can say, that's not really my thing, but I can tell you're all about it. And that feels very different from making you feel stupid for bringing it up. One response makes room for you, leaves you comfortable. The other makes you feel smaller, leaves you bracing for next time. People feel that difference, even if they can't always explain it. So maybe the real issue isn't that something got minimized. It's about what happened after. Maybe you started screening what you share. You stopped mentioning certain things. You got quieter around certain people. You started deciding in advance who would get the real answers and who wouldn't. And maybe that wasn't random. Maybe that was your way of protecting yourself. If that's true, then it's worth noticing, not judging yourself, not making it bigger than it is, just seeing it for what it is. Because once you see it clearly, you stop blaming yourself for changing. You understand why you pulled back. And from there, you can make better choices about where your real self goes. Who gets your honesty? Who gets your excitement? Who gets your trust? Because not everyone deserves those parts of you just because they're in your life. Some people do not handle your softer side well. Some people do not handle your joy well. Some people are only comfortable with the parts of you that fit easily into how they think. And once you know that, you can stop working so hard to be fully seen in places that only partly receive you. That realization can hurt, but it can also bring relief, because then and only then you stop expecting the wrong people to suddenly handle the right parts of you better. And you stop turning on yourself just because somebody else didn't know how to value what you shared. Before we close, if Caffeine and Clarity has been a place for you to slow down, to notice what's underneath things, you're always welcome to stay connected by subscribing either on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. And if you'd like to support me, feel free to buy me a coffee or buy yourself something from our shop. The links are below. Here's your sip of the day. You don't stop liking things. You stop bringing them up to certain people. And that's worth thinking about. Who has dismissed you? And who makes it easier to be yourself? Who listens without mocking? Who responds without making you feel less than? Who doesn't have to fully understand something to still treat it with respect? Those people matter. Those spaces matter. And sometimes one of the clearest signs of emotional safety is simple. You don't feel the need to edit parts of yourself before you speak. In the next episode, I want to stay with this idea and talk about another kind of conditional connection. What happens when someone only wants to connect if it's on their terms, around their interests, or in ways that centers around them? This is Caffeine and Clarity.